We've got another unwanted visitor, but more so for the Atlantic coast that's making its run at the Florida beaches. Record-breaking tons of sargassum seaweed. It's blooming. Its blooms really reaching the coastline, and we've got a lot of people this time of year that like to head to Florida and capitalize on their summer vacation, but there could be a stinky problem waiting for them. Fox Weather Correspondent Brandy Campbell joining us just south of Fort Lauderdale. Brandy, it is that time of year, my friend, where we go to you, we talk to you. You've kind of become the sargassum expert when it comes to tracking it and monitoring how it can really just clog up the beaches along the coast.
Good morning to you guys. Look, the sargassum, it just happens to come in the summer months when everyone wants to hit up the beaches. So you can see it here lining the shore in Dania Beach. But I do want to point out another thing we're just coincidentally also dealing with, which is some of the rainy weather, which I'm learning from our meteorologist is associated with some of the rain coming from that disturbance just off the coast of Florida. So it's a rainy day, so we're not seeing so many people on the beach right here at the moment, but this is the sargassum seaweed that we're talking about. I'm gonna pick some up for you guys. It's kind of gross, but this is the brown microalgae that's been floating throughout the Atlantic, the Caribbean, and of course in parts of the Gulf and now along the coast of Florida. If it's here for too long, it can smell, but they've been cleaning it up here. I actually want to give you a point of reference. This is underneath the pier here in Dania Beach. You can see just how much of it has actually accumulated in comparison to what they've cleaned up. I also want to show you what we saw last week. The beaches in general up and down this East Coast saw a lot of sargassum seaweed. I even tried to do a morning on the beach down south in Key Biscayne, and I saw several feet of it just lining the shore, and at that point it actually was starting to smell pretty bad. So let's get into it. I want to show you yesterday in Miami Beach. This is footage that my photographer Chris took where you can see people just swimming through and past that sargassum. Again, it's a brown microalgae that reproduces on the water surface until it dies, and then it will eventually spotted in the spring and summer as currents transport it between the Atlantic and Caribbean Sea and then through the Gulf. While it's a critical habitat for marine life like sea turtles and fish, it can become a smelly mess after decomposing on beaches as currents transport it. This footage shows it up close and even underwater. I spoke with Twami Hu. He's an oceanography professor at the University of South Florida. Their optical oceanography lab, along with NASA, uses satellites and fieldwork to track the sargassum's movements and quantity. He says in Florida, sargassum usually peaks between May and June, but this year it might peak later.
This year, I think the worst is not there yet, because we still see a continuous transport of sargassum to the Gulf of America and to the Straits of Florida, and the amount appears larger than last month.
So the peak, again, it might happen a little bit later. And with that being said, I do want to point out sargassum inundation around Florida overall remains low to moderate this year compared to historical highs seen in 2015 and 2018 just in Florida. However, a new record was set in the Atlantic this May with 38 million metric tons of sargassum. It's the highest ever amount recorded in a single month. This surpasses the previous record set in June of 2022 by 40%. Now, I want to show you guys what we're looking at when it comes to where the sargassum is. This is a satellite image from earlier this month displaying where it's detected. The warmer red colors, that means there's a higher abundance, and of course the cooler colors are a lower abundance of it. Twami told me the most of the sargassum right now is in the Caribbean Sea and in the tropical Atlantic. So that's good news for us here in Florida and the other Gulf Coast states that might see that sargassum float on shore, but it's not good news for those Caribbean islands right now. Guys?
Yeah, I mean, Brandy, it's not fun to look at, but it is a reality. Real quick before we leave you, health concerns, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I saw people walking through it and kind of, you know, wading in the water sort of thing. We're okay generally, right, when we come in contact with it?
Yes, you are okay, but you do want to keep in mind you might have baby jellyfish larvae that's in it that could cause some skin irritation. If it's out here for too long and it smells, it could release an ammonia and such and cause some respiratory issues. So if it stinks, just don't breathe it in.
That's right. Okay, we can remember that. If it stinks, maybe just kind of steer clear of it. All right. Well, appreciate that update, Brandy, as we check in there along the beautiful shores of Florida, the Atlantic side at least. Fox Weather Correspondent Brandy Campbell, thank you.